At last, Starlog, a serious science fiction magazine. The making of Star Wars, Close Encounters, the Superman movie, in Starlog, the astonishing magazine of science fiction and fact. Starlog is packed with color photos. Features like NASA's plan to sail to Halley's Comet. News about the Space Shuttle Enterprise. Isaac Asimov on Flight Faster Than Light. Star Trek, Space 1999. All your favorite movies and TV shows. Plus an inside look at Star Trek II and Buck Rogers. Articles and interviews with the top names in science fiction. New products, new books, new records, new ideas. Those crazy conventions. Everything a logical mind could want. All in Starlog, the magazine of the future. I find it fascinating.
Hello and welcome back to Inside the Man Cave. I'm your host David Danger88, and in this episode of Inside the Man Cave we are going to be looking at some really cool retro film magazines from the 1970s and 1980s. It's more of a sci-fi magazine and it is called Starlog. So these magazines came out in the late 1970s and all of 1980s. I'm not sure if they were around in the 1990s. But yeah, I've got about 12 of them so far. So these are 3 of them that I've got that I'll be showcasing in this collection. We have one from 1977, so only a couple of months after the original Star Wars film. And then 2 from 1978. So we're gonna have a look through each one, delve into them. They are very retro, old school type of magazines. It's really cool to have these in my collection, and I might do future videos on the other ones as well. But yeah, whoa, look at that beautiful artwork. So let's take a look at some of my Starlog sci-fi magazines. So let's get us started on the very first magazine I have, is Starlog number 7 from August, and it is a Star Wars featured. This is from 1977, so not long after episode 4 or the original Star Wars that came out. So yeah, again, Starlog is sort of like a sci-fi magazine that started in the 70s and then went over to the 80s as well. I'm not sure if it was in the 90s or not. And then also features, so there's the main feature of Star Wars here, preview of the spectacular new science fiction movie Star Wars. And then we've got some other ones, including like NASA Space Shuttle, we've got the Star Trek report, Robbie the Robot. So let's open this one up and take a look. So already you can see it's very sort of old colouring in the paperwork, because it is from the 70s. So you've got this cool, I think it's advertisement, not of this earth. So yeah, there's a lot of different advertisers you can get, and what people used to do is pretty much like write down and send it to the actual company Starlog and everything, and get price packs and all that. So that's the date issue. We've got August 1977. This is pretty much what's featured in the booklet, and then just the editors and publishers and all their information there. So that's just the first covering page. Alright, so next up we've got from the bridge, so I think pretty much just an information about like what we can maybe expect in this booklet and all that. I haven't read everything in these books. I probably want to at some point, because it's really interesting. I do come from a film background, so these are definitely really interesting to have in the collection. So some more advertisements, I presume. Now I'll try and go over these kind of quickly because we've got 3 booklets to go through today. So here is some communications. See some Trek communication, directives, cancellations. So yeah, don't know what that is. Fans of 3D Grove. Okay. We've got log reports from the latest news of science fiction, and then sort of a first of our coloured images from CBS confirms Logan, which I have no idea what that is about, but I think it's a TV season. Then I think there's some more information of Logan. And you also have, I think that's Christopher Lee there. We have a 17-year-old student winning some kind of a prize. And some more advertisements in that. Movie and television starships. Order your copies today. Also, you can even get the Enterprise from Star Trek and everything. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so we have the Enterprise in action. Maybe this is a NASA thing. I am not too sure. But yeah, that's some really cool rocket pics. Some more ads. Okay, so 32 pages of movie stills from the original Star Wars. So that's cool. I might make it and fill out the form, but I don't think I'll actually get a word back. I will be surprised if I do. So yeah, some cool different informations about different sci-fi events that's been happening. There is Christopher Lee again, and a very young Mark Hamill too, and some images of some conventions going on there. So now we have the big Star Wars spread, creating the space fantasy universe. So wow, look at that. That's definitely a still from Star Wars. And you have the classic Luke Skywalker pose. And I think it's just more information about the Star Wars. Now I'll try and get some of the words in. If you're welcome to pause the video and read it if you'd like. So yeah, creating the space fantasy universe. So, and we continue with the Star Wars spread. So a massive pic from inside the Millennium Falcon. Then you have here on Yavin 4. And there's some Ralph McQuarrie images, which is really nice. And here's some more writings and everything like that. But yeah, it's interesting to have some of these things, because also like at this stage a lot of people probably haven't even seen the movie. Like it came out in May and this is the August edition. So alright, so yeah, some more cool behind the scenes pics and everything. That classic Vader versus Obi-Wan picture. information. We've got from Tatooine, the Jawas, and then just some more information right there. And we're continuing the Star Wars spread with a big one with Obi-Wan and Luke and 3PO in the background. And then we've got these, I forget what these aliens are called, but I think they're like snail. They look like obviously snail ones, but yeah. You can tell me in the comments if you like. There's a nice coloured image of an X-Wing. And then you've got the classic Chewbacca and Han Solo image. So yeah, you can't get more classic than that with Star Wars. And we're continuing the Star Wars spread. There is a lot of Star Wars in this magazine. So we've got Leia and 3PO. And then a really cool Luke image there on Tatooine. Then over the page is, I think that is an image. I thought it was actually a drawing, but it's an actual image. Or it could be a drawing. I don't know. I think it's a drawing, but of Obi-Wan in the Death Star. And then it's just some information about that as well. And then I think this is the end of the Star Wars content, but we've got a sand crawler and some more information. We've got just some information about the film and who's actually starring in the film. Because like, even though like it came out in May, June, July, or we've got August, there's still maybe a lot of people still haven't seen the film already, wanting to know more about it and everything like that. So here we've got some more different cool retro ads from the 70s. Next we have the Star Trek report. Now these magazines are quite big with Star Trek, because again Star Trek did come out before Star Wars, so yeah, but we've still got, I think, a fair share of different Star Wars and Star Trek information. There's some future conventions. Let's see, a Star Trek convention right there. And we have a Starlog interview with a screenwriter talks about a Star Trek movie. Now, yeah, I think it's probably Star Trek the motion picture film. I'm not sure what year that came out, but yeah, this is probably a little bit of the talks about it, because I reckon the Star Wars itself probably really pushed them to have a Star Trek movie. Next up, we're having a look at Space 1999, another film. Now, I've never actually seen this film, or if it is a TV series, I don't know. But yeah, pretty cool. And then we've got this little insert here, the Eagles. So I'm not gonna open this up because I don't want to take out the original staples, because yeah, they're from 1977. But I presume they're just sort of plans, and they're just some stills from the actual Space 1999 film or TV series. I think it's a film. I'll have to do some research on that. And yeah, it just continues with some more behind the scenes images. We have a Atlantean returns to the airways. Don't know what that is, but obviously it's a TV sort of plot, sci-fi plot. Next, we're going to have a look at the National Air and Space Museum. So we've got this really cool coloured image there of the Space Museum. So yeah, there's some more little information about that. And it just continues over the page with some more writing. We've got an ad here. You can launch your own rocket ship. I'm definitely thinking that's going to be dangerous, but yep. And you can sort of apply for it and see the different prices and everything that's part of it, so that's cool. And then over the page is a big image of the Enterprise from Star Trek. And we're continuing more with images from the Space Museum. Yeah, if it's still around, I'd love to go to it, but most likely it probably isn't. Our next section, we have Starlog presents the magical techniques of the movie and TV special effects, Part 2, Science Fiction's Robot Man, Robbie the Robot. Now, this guy was a pretty famous robot back in the day. I think he appeared in a few movies and TV shows as well. So there's a big color image of him. It looks like he's in some kind of detective form. So, yeah. And we're continuing on with Robbie the Robot with some behind the scenes pics about how the suit was actually made and everything. And then more over the page too. Nice big coloured images. Now it's really cool because it has some black and white, but it also has a good mixture of coloured images in these Starlog magazines. Now I do actually know this other robot that Robbie the Robot is fighting. That guy is from Lost in Space, a series I actually used to watch a little bit when I was much younger. On repeats, I think there was like a black and white, I think it was from the 60s or something. So I'm not from the 60s, I'm from the 90s, but yeah, very much a 90s kid. Then we have some classified information. Let's see a little segment on movie posters, and I guess you can sort of write in and have your own little classification in there. And then we have some more ads and collectible Star Trek stamps with like the Justice League of America, very cool, and some Marvel ones in there too. And the last segment is called Visions. It's a really cool image. I think it's Jupiter. And it's a little bit of information about the planets and what's been going on. They have their Voyager mission there that was sent off, I think, in the 70s. And then just some more information about outer planets. An image of Saturn. So that concludes the first book with a Star Trek picture gallery of the actual TV series in the background.
Starlog Magazine takes you on incredible science fiction trips into the world of Star Trek, into space, video games, and film, into the Star Wars galaxy, into the future for previews of new movies and TV programs. Starlog Magazine shows you special effects secrets, blueprints and robots, spaceships and aliens, interviews with writers, movie makers, heroes, and villains. Starlog is the most popular science fiction magazine in the solar system. Buy Starlog at any newsstand or subscribe now and save money.
Next up, we have Starlog number 11 from January 1978. So the last one was 77, so we're up to 1978. And this is the first Starlog for 1928 for number 11. Now it looks like we've got a bit of a horror theme in a way. But it's called The Makeup Men. We've also got some highlights with the Superman movie, The Incredible Shrinking Man, and some computer games. So let's open this Starlog up. So first up the bat, we've got a Star Wars, I think, merchandise. We've got some Star Wars t-shirts from the 70s, so I think you just can the Star Wars ad there. And then we've got the table of contents. We've got the Starlog there, so that's from January 1978, number 11, and what we can expect in this catalogue and who it's been published and edited by. So we start from the bridge, which was similar to the other one. I think just some information from the publisher and everything like that. And there's some cool little mini stories I think that's involved there. So let's turn the page from the community, and just some more stories in that from the Starlog community. We've got another ad here, read it slowly, so don't know what's all that about, but you can view the membership details there. So next we have the latest news from the science world, log entries. So this one's about the Voyager that they sent off in space, where they put in a golden disc about sort of the different images and sounds from planet Earth if some intelligent life out there finds it, and then this is sort of a record of what is actually on there, the songs and sequence and images and sounds of Earth. So that's pretty cool. We have a Space 1999 little booklet ad there, where again you can just I think send these off, and then people used to be able to get them in the mail or something like that. I don't know how it all worked back then, but yeah, no, some more images, I think, not from Space 99, but a robot of some sort. Then we've got another ad for a soundtrack album. Next we have some log entries. We've got an orphan star there, some headwear there. We've got a little article with mining asteroids. Looks like Albert Einstein there. And the log entries continue with their new Disney science fiction piece there. We have the War of the Worlds 25th anniversary. We've got someone with a Coca-Cola sign in the background, and Star Wars Disco Sparks trend. And then we've got some coloured images there. Magic Lantern works wonders. And then over here we've got some of the issues from Starlog. So that's what the first one kind of looked like with Star Trek, featured heavily. The earliest one I have is that one, number 7. But I wouldn't mind if I can try and get the first one, would be pretty cool. They're not easy to come by, but yeah. Log entries continue. We've got Darth Vader unmasked. R2-D2 makes the rounds. The body snatchers, reinvasion. I think we got the computer dilemma and cosmic encounter. Looks like a game or some sort. And next spread we have is The Prisoner. What I see of it, I think it's based off a science fiction TV series. I've never seen it before, but yeah, maybe I could try and see if it's on any streaming, or at least watch some clips on YouTube about it. But there's a pretty big article spread on this TV series, so it's definitely a big deal. And if you want to know anything further about The Prisoner, we've got the episode guide right here. So all you need to know about this TV series, again, I have no idea what this is all about, but it looks interesting. Next up, we have The Incredible Shrinking Man. So this is the film. I've never actually seen the film. I think I've seen a trailer of it, but it would definitely be worth checking out. And it continues over the page. Looks like he's hiding from maybe a cat, and then he's in some kind of water, and then oh god, he looks like he's fighting a tarantula spider. So it's, not the most funnest thing, but yeah. Then we've got a little section on conventions, where it looks like Star Wars is now making the convention period, because now Star Wars is out, which is really cool. And then you've also got heavily focused Star Trek as well, Leonard Nimoy, I think that's there. And then future conventions, so definitely some still heavily focused Star Trek conventions all along that list too. Next we have the Computers game, a pretty big double spread on, I think, maybe the history of computers. It's still very early on if this is like the late 70s of the computer race, but yeah, I think we might have a little bit more look at it. So there's some old school computers right there. That almost looks like a gaming machine in a way. And then more computers, looks like maybe in a classroom. And then at home, they're very bulky. And then that definitely looks like a computer console, video game console there. Next we have Close Encounters of the Third Kind, a pretty big deal science fiction film from Steven Spielberg. So there's a big article piece, and there's some production problems there. That could be an interesting read. And some more about the film. There's a big wide shot there. I think that's before the big mothership was going to come down. And next we have a big Superman spread on the launch of the first Superman movie that was actually probably coming out later that year. So there's some behind the scenes photos and everything of the Superman film. Definitely one of my favorite Superman films. We've got a massive picture with Christopher Reeve as Superman, and I think maybe he's a costume designer as well. And over the page we can win a Star Trek Fantasy poster. Next we have the magical techniques of movie and TV specials, another part with the makeup man. So we've got sort of behind the scenes of some cosmetics and everything like that going on to the actor, which I think becomes this guy. I don't know who he is or where he's from, but yeah, John Chambers is the creator of this pretty fabulous and out there monster. Next we have Stuart Freeborn, who has done these sort of monster creations, but he's very well known for Star Wars as well with Chewbacca. And there he is there putting the headpiece on. Next we have Rick Baker, so I think that is the guy. He was on the front cover as well, with all the sort of demon style heads. You've got this massive gorilla as well, and the transformation of a guy turning into a zombie or demon or something like that. So that's really a cool piece there to have. Then we've got the classified information again, so I think people can write in and just put their classifications in. So and again, people can just apply here, I would guess, and then the Starlog will sort of choose the ones they want to add in. And there's a few more over the page too. And then we've got the USS Enterprise blueprints. If you're only $5.95 for a complete 10-sheet packet. We have Visions again. This title is With the Device I Can Rule the World. So it looks like there's some ray gun there. We've got a scene that looks like it's from the original Frankenstein. And then over the page we've got some more, I think, different sort of machines that have helped him different sci-fi films and TV specials. And that's it for book number 2, and the back cover is Kiss Alive number 2 with 5 new songs. So that is the next or the end of the next Starlog with issue 11. And the final book we have is issue number 13 from May 1978, and we are exploring the planets of the solar system. Other extras, we've got Disney space films, The Time Machine, preview of some new horror movies. We've got some Close Encounters coloured photos and an interview with Darth Vader himself, David Prowse. So let's open this Starlog one up. So yeah, someone's actually laminated the cover of this one. Now I think I got these, a couple of these I've got from like Trash and Treasure markets and eBay and everything like that. Yeah, so that's just the an ad or something like that, and then you just got the Starlog here. So it's from May 1978, so almost a year after Star Wars, the original Star Wars. So maybe there might be something about that. We'll have to see. And then from the bridge again, pretty much a little insight from the publisher and some mini different publisher stories and so forth to open the magazine up. So we've got log entries here, the latest news from the worlds of science fiction. We've got a very colorized image of Saturn, Destination Saturn. And over here we've got a pretty cool retro Star Wars poster, and they might sort of, apparently it's a new Star Wars ad campaign. Maybe they're re-releasing in the cinema because there was no DVD or VHS back then. And speaking of Star Wars, we've got Star Wars watches. So you can order your watch from the Starlog Magazine. May the force of time be with you. And from the Time to fan clubs, the Star Wars fan club. So yeah, if I was a kid in the 70s, I would have definitely signed up for this. Next we have the man behind the mask, David Prowse. So he is the original actor who played Darth Vader in, I think, all three original films. So there's some other work he's done, playing a monster and a sort of Frankenstein beast. He was well built for definitely playing the Dark Lord of the Sith. And there's some more behind the scenes photos of David Prowse in costume as Darth Vader. And then another image of him, and this is also Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2, so R2-D2 and Darth Vader. And some more images of him holding a bunch of kids, and some more of his other work he's done. Next we have CBS Goes Under the Water with Captain Nemo. Now, I've never seen anything to do with Captain Nemo before, but could be. Looks interesting. Looks definitely a very big TV budget special. Before Lucas, Star Wars, before Spielberg's Encounters, there was Walt Disney's Quest for Space. Funny how he owns all of that now, but yeah, there is the man himself, Walt Disney, and sort of their plans for a space film or space exploration type of film, and some more ways that Disney's entering the space era. Next we have Logan Runs No More. So this was a sci-fi TV show. I think we had a look in the first book or second book, but yeah, this is more insight into this sci-fi TV series, Logan. And we've got the Logan episode guide here. So for anyone who's interested to know all the episodes and the information about Logan, there it is. Now the only Logan I know is Logan from the X-Men, but this is not the X-Men, definitely not. Next we have a look at a science fiction project in the works, 3001: A Space comedy. So maybe a spoof on 2001. But the images are looking pretty cool, and especially in this magazine there's some really cool images and artwork pieces in these magazines. Very impressive. And then we can have another blueprint of the USS Enterprise is still going on too. Send away today. Next we have a piece on the world's greatest science fiction fan. So there's a little information about him there, and then a nice spread image of him there with his collection. Very cool little collection he's got going on there, I might say. And there's some more of his collection pieces there. So yeah, he looks like he's definitely a big collector in the sci-fi world. Next we have the continuation of the magical techniques of movie and TV special effects part with the matte artist. So that's pretty much different matte paintings they would do for films to cover up scenes. I think they definitely did a lot of that in Star Wars. And then there you can sort of see the painting and then the effect sort of going over that. Kind of very similar to even green screen now these days in a way. But again, yeah, these books are really interesting, especially I am a former film student, and just having these pieces from back in the day directly involving all these cool special techniques they used to do is really interesting. We have a big spread on close encounters of the third kind. So yeah, very big, the picture of the mothership, and then got some cool, the aliens there. Spoiler alert. And some more big color images from the film. And then we move on to another Star Trek report of all the new and information in the Star Trek community. Next segment we have the Time Machine. So a little look into that film and how that was made. Now I've never seen the original. I have seen the remake that came out a long time ago, but that wasn't really interesting. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the original version, and then sort of just continues over the page with the actual time machine itself, and yeah, just a lot of information about the film. Then finally we've got The Last World from the publisher, and then a sneak peek at the next one, next Starlog, which I don't unfortunately have that one. And then over the page we've got the science fiction games. So some starting to get some video game content in these magazines. I don't know how much there is. Maybe the later we go in issues there might be, but who knows. And then the back cover we have got the greatest gift for in the galaxy, the Force Beam. So I think it's a beam that glows in the dark from Star Wars, but you can get your order there. Well, now we come to the end of this video with the Starlog Magazine Collection. So that's just three of the ones I have, issue 7, 11 and 13. I do have more in the collection, so I might do future videos on them, on the other issues on them as well, because they're really interesting just to go back in time and see what the landscape of filming and science fiction was back in the day in the 70s. But yeah, thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you guys in the next Inside the Man Cave episode.